Welcome back to Franco Fridays. And there's going to be quite a few of those Franco Fridays with the output that Severin is doing with the Franco films. I was going to cover the other part of the Franco noir film double feature, but I think I decided to switch gears and cover Mansion of the Living Dead from 1982. This also was released by Severin. I covered this film almost 7 years ago. So if you go through my Franco playlist, you can find that review. And I thought it needed an update. It's certainly with this new Blu-ray that's come out, it's worthwhile to talk about this film. Franco was never a big fan of zombie films. In fact, there's a 20-minute interview on this Blu-ray, and he basically says he doesn't really think much of zombie films or George Romero in particular. He thought Romero was basically kind of shallow and didn't get beyond the surface issues of his films. I think that's harsh. I think George Romero's films are classics, and the political and social commentary is there. I don't know. I totally disagree with Franco on that. But one director he did like was Armando Osario. And the Mansion of the Living Dead really was an inspiration from the Blinded series. In fact, this is really supposed to be a loose sequel to the three films. I think there's three films. I've seen them all. It's been a while. But Franco, as usual, goes his own way with zombies. And really, so the film, before I talk about the details, the basic storyline is you've got four women, including, of course, we got Lena Romay. And they are strippers or topless dancers out on vacation in the Canary Islands. That's where the film was shot. And they arrive at this hotel, motel, resort, if you will. And the place is booked. The manager, played by Antonio Mayans, which, by the way, I think that this is his best role in a Franco film. Mayans tells him, "Look, we're booked up, but there's nobody there." So that's the first sign that something is seriously wrong. At any rate, these four girls finally get their rooms, and they go out on the beach, which looks like I'm close to New Orleans here. We call really shitty beaches down here like the Cajun Riviera, and that's what this looks like. It's the Canary Islands, but the beach looks like shit. There's rocks. I mean, it doesn't look. It's gray. But so they're trying to lay on this nasty beach, and from out of nowhere comes this butcher knife flying through the air, and it lands between Lena Romay and one of the other girls. Hilarious stuff. Of course, that scares the shit out of them, and they retreat back to their rooms and start to have sex with each other. So that, yeah, the film, of course, is you're entering Jess Franco's crazy, crazy world of bizarre and beautiful imagery, lots of sex, lots of lesbian scenes. And in the midst of all that, you've got a Cathar sect. And the Cathars in Spanish history were a heretic group that were persecuted and gotten rid of in the Spanish Inquisition. And this Cathar sect is basically starts snipping off the girls one by one, raping them, torturing them, and killing them. And it's really kind of a it's along the lines of really a slasher film in the sense that if you go out and you're promiscuous, you're probably going to get killed, and that's what's happening here. Promiscuity breeds murder. I love the film. Now that I've revisited it, I have to say that I think it's with this copy. This Blu-ray release is just so pristine. It looks unbelievable. If you've not seen this film, or you think you've seen this film, say the DVD or say YouTube or Tubi or something, you haven't seen this film until you've seen this Blu-ray. This thing is gorgeous. What a restoration. Uh, I was blown away. I mean, and it really enhances Jess Franco's work with the camera, his use of imagery and location shooting. It's fantastic. Looks beautiful. And on top of all that, you've got this Daniel White score that, and it's a minimalist score, almost like Brian Eno's Echo music, where you've got howling winds and you've got church bells ringing, and that's really all you're going to hear in some of these scenes where the women are like walking down a walkway or down a long corridor. It really gives you kind of a otherworldly atmosphere. I loved it. Really, I was totally sucked into it this time. Um, to add to all that, you've got Anthony Mayans playing this crazy hotel manager who is a religious pervert. He's a religious zealot, and like many, I'm not saying all, but it does seem like the more strict religious person you are, the more hang-ups you have. And that's what we got here. Anthony Mayans doubles as a very so he's Anthony Mayans. He's welcoming these strippers to his hotel, and he's obviously uh, detests these women because he's attracted to them. And it turns out, of course, he's keeping a woman locked up in his room with a dog collar around her neck because he's got more hang-ups than anybody else in the film. A real pervert. But he's great in this. Lena Romay plays Candy, and yeah, that's what she is. She's eye candy. Although I'll have to say, the first opening scene where the four initially are arriving to the resort, she's wearing an outfit that doesn't flatter her at all. She looks fat, and not fat, but she looks kind of just, her figure's kind of gone. This is 1982, 1983, and she's always had a great figure. And I think it's just the outfit, because as soon as she takes that off, things go back to normal. She looks good, but this outfit fit was not flattering at all. It's kind of like a one of these women's romper deals. I don't know women's fashion too much, but you get my point if you've seen it, the opening scene. Franco's history with zombie films is a checkered one, but as I said, he had a great affinity for the Blind Dead series, particularly the first film. He thought was very inventive and creative, and in this film, really, you could make a strong argument that this is not about zombies. It's not zombies. This is more about a Cathar sect that look like they're kind of just wearing masks. You've got a number of them that kind of move around like the Blind Dead, but they're wearing skull masks. It looks like, or just really cheap plastic skulls. They don't. Maybe they are dead, and it's just a cheap ass looking plastic skull, or maybe it's a cheap ass plastic looking skull mask. Whichever it is, that's not the point of the film. If you're looking for a zombie film, that's not what you're going to get here. Although I would say, even if you're looking for a zombie film and something different than the norm, give this one a shot, because with Franco, you're always going to get him coming at this in a heretical way. Franco's a heretic, whether it's zombie movies or religion or the Franco regime, the totalitarian regime that was ruling Spain, up into the early 80s. He's a heretic when it comes to all that stuff. His thought process is just different from the norm, and his thought process with zombies based on this film is different from the norm. And it's fun, it's refreshing. Embrace it. Don't reject it just because it doesn't look like Dawn of the Dead, It's a different take on the zombie concept, and it's a refreshing one. You just gotta go with it and embrace the the unorthodox, which is what you get with a Franco film. I really liked it, as you can tell. And you know somebody else that likes it? Frank Henenlotter. It's one of his favorite films. In fact, Frank Henenlotter was the guy that got Stephen Thrower to check this movie out. Stephen Thrower, when he was just getting into Franco, he'd seen maybe 30 films. And Frank Henenlotter, of all people, said, well, you know, Stephen, you need to check out Mansion of the Living Dead. It's one of my favorite Franco films. And sure enough, he did. I mean, so if this has Frank Henenlotter's stamp of approval, it's absolutely got my stamp of approval. Mansion of the Living Dead, I'm going to give it a 7.5 out of 10. Is it a perfect picture? No, but it's a really it's one of Jess Franco's best films from the 1980s, without a doubt, bar none. As far as special features, you've got a 38-minute interview with Stephen Thrower about the film. And then you've got a port over from the DVD, which is an interview with Jess Franco and Lena Romay, which is about 15 minutes. Good stuff. Well worth your purchase. Even if you're just kind of a passive, kind of a not a great Franco fan, but you've seen some of his films. This is if you're a horror fan, definitely need to pick this up. I think it's one of Franco's best, particularly in the 1980s. It's got a lot of atmosphere, a lot of it great, beautiful imagery. I wish he'd have had a chance with some money. Imagine what Franco could have done with some money. You have to remember, too, that he was given shoestring budgets to do this stuff on. And he produced a film here that's really, there's no down minute. It's a fascinating watch. It's just fascinating to look at and beautiful to look at. So again, I recommend this highly. But again, it's not a perfect film. I'm going to give it a 7.5 out of 10. But yeah, Franco fans must own. Definitely an improvement from the DVD. It's like night and day. Absolutely night and day. Just a beautiful release. No internal artwork. Well, let's see if there's reversible artwork on this. I haven't even checked that. No, that's a shame. But we'll take what we got, right? Anyway, that's hope you enjoyed the review, and that is Mansion of the Living Dead from 1982, a Franco classic from the 1980s. And I'll be back in another Friday very soon with another review. Probably going to do the Franco Noir next. Appreciate you watching.